All right, when we loaded Python and we loaded Spider, this is where we were. I had talked about putting in different kinds of items if you are interested in just making a single comment to document what you're doing. And I highly recommend you document everything that you're doing. So every line should have some description, or every block of line should have some description about what's going on. So you can use either the hashtag with your comment, or you can use the three quotation marks and close those three quotation marks with whatever you want to say. Another thing I'm going to do, just so this is a little easier for you to see, is I'm also going to right click and I'm going to zoom in. And I'm going to zoom in a couple of times to make this bigger so that you have a better chance of seeing this. All right, well, let's take a look at our initial foray into Python. All right, let's take a look at this. So the first thing we want to understand is how to maybe assign values to a variable. All right, so I'm going to take out these cell designations. That's that hashtag percentage sign, percentage sign. And the first thing we want to do is we want to assign a value to a variable. Again, this is basic stuff, right? So we're going to start basic and keep building and then try to keep learning how to add new things. All right? So for argument's sake, let's say we have an account balance and we're going to use the variable name account balance, and I'll just abbreviate ACC underscore BALANCE. And I want to assign this variable called account balance, and that's what this is. It's a variable. I'm going to assign this variable an amount equal to 1,500. And then I want to have Python return back the amount that I assigned to it. I just wanted to tell me what it is. So in the next line, I can do the next line 10 or line 11. It doesn't matter. I'm just going to type in ACC BALA, and you'll notice it all of a sudden starts bringing up that this is a variable because I had defined it as a variable earlier. And I'm just going to say account balance. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my cursor in front of each line, and I'm going to come up here and I'm just going to run the selected line, run the current line. You can either use F9 or click this. I like clicking things. So I'm going to click this, and you're going to notice down here in the right-hand column, lower right-hand pane, that this is going to start doing stuff. I'm also going to put Variable Explorer here, and you'll see that there'll be a variable that shows up over here as well. All right? So let's do this. We're going to run account balance. All right? And now I see account balance is the in. There's no output. And I now have account balance in my variable view. And it has a value of 1,500. It also tells me how many values are in this variable. There's one. And it also tells me the type. The next thing is I'm going to just click account balance, and it should give me an output of this 1,500. So let's run this line. And line 2 is, that's the line that I fed it, and the output was 1,500. So it just returned back what this variable, when looking at Variable Explorer, just return back the 1,500. And then if I wanted to find out what the type is, I can see it here in the Variable Explorer, but if I was looking maybe using Jupyter Notebooks, I might not see this variable view. So I'm going to use a function called type, Type, and that is a function, and I'm going to put in parentheses and then type in the variable name. And when you see this, it pops up. I can just double click that and it will fill in the variable name. So now I'm going to run type. And it's going to output what kind of type it is. It's a float variable, right? So you've just, in 3 lines, you've created a variable. It's a variable with a single value in it, 1500. You've been able to output that variable, and you've been able to define the type. All of this you can look at in your Variable Explorer. So if you're using Jupyter Notebooks, you can put this stuff in, and you'll see the input and the output. If you're using Spyder like I am, all you have to do is put this in, and you can see by looking at Variable Explorer what you've got. That's why I like Spyder, because I can see all of this stuff happening at the same time. So maybe we want to change the type. Maybe I don't want this to be a float variable. Maybe I want it to be something different. So I'm going to create a new variable called account balance underscore str, signifying that I want it to be a string. Okay. And I want this to be equal to str. So what this is doing is it's converting my variable account balance, ACC underscore balance, to a string. So I'm going to put in ACC underscore balance, right? And so now I'll have 2 variables. One will be ACC balance underscore str, and the other one will be ACC underscore balance. I'm going to put in the same 2 kinds of lines as I had up here. I want to know ACC balance string, and I want to find out the type of ACC balance, and just click that on string. So just those are these are the 6 total lines that I'm going to put in here. So I'm going to run this one. Again, you'll see this happen down here in the console, and you'll see a new variable show up here. So I'm going to run this line, and now I have a new variable, right? Size 6. Oh, wait a minute. This is size 1. This is size 6. What do you think that 6 stands for? Well, what it stands for is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 characters, right? So it has 6 different characters. And if I wanted to, I could call an individual character out of this variable. So it's a string, and it's a size, whereas this is a float, it's 1 number. Here it's a string, it has 6 characters, including the decimal point. All right, I'm going to run ACC balance string, so it'll output what it is down here. There it is, 1500. And you notice it's got quotation marks around it. Single quotes, doesn't matter, single, double quotes. And it's the 1500, and those are the 6 characters that are in that string. And then I'm also going to hit type, and it's going to tell me that it's a string. Right? Now, there are other types of functions that you can use. Just as we change something to a string, I can also change it to something else. So we have other functions. For if I want to change this to an integer, or I want to change it to back to float. And maybe I wanted to create a Boolean calculation, right? And I'll let you look up what a Boolean calculation is. I don't use that stuff. I tend to use just straight integer, float, etc., and that's it. So there are other functions on how you can change a value to something else, right? You can do that. All right, and that's all we want to really do with this very first little video, is just get you familiar with kind of typing things into whatever IDE you're using, whether it's Jupyter Notebooks or Spyder.